Okay, so what is this new Kin economy? Now, the Kin ecosystem has released the new outlook for the KRE. And this KRE engine essentially is fueling all the Kin ecosystem apps, which is fantastic. All these apps are running using Kin, fueled by Kin, incentivized by Kin. And the users themselves are using the app because maybe they want to earn more Kin or they like the app itself. It's a whole ecosystem. Kin is providing a whole ecosystem and a new economy for Web 2 apps to migrate to Web 3 apps or new Web 3 apps being built. So this is all very important, and Kin has been doing this for approximately 4 years, 4.5 years. And we've come a long way, a really, really long way, and this is very exciting. Now, William Mugire has released a new article that is essentially highlighting the new outlook for Kin and its economy and what this means for newcomers or applications that are live at the moment and participants. So let's start by going through the 5 main points that were made in this article. The first main point mentioned was the Kin ecosystem will generate an assessment score on existing applications. Now, from reading, it seems that the applications that are integrated with Kin essentially get judged or get a score based on how well the technological implementations they have implemented, or if Kin sets a blueprint for an app to build A in this way and to stay within the parameters of the ecosystem and not to essentially inflate certain behaviors or affect or create too many spends, etc. These scores all these points will be looked at, and there will be a score created. How well is an app integrated into the Kin ecosystem? How well is the app doing? How well is the app behaving? Are the users happy with the app? Because if an app is essentially promoting the Kin ecosystem, but they themselves are giving a bad experience, then that might have a negative look on the whole experience. But this is something that needs to be explored as more apps join, as current apps integrate the new Kinetic, etc. So we will see how this plays out and what kind of scores we get from these applications. It can be subjective as well. It depends on how really they're looking at it, if it's fully technical or use case and user experience. Now, the second point, a very important point, is to raise all the earn spend thresholds. Now, applications that use the Kin ecosystem, that are engaged in the Kin economy, that use the Kin token to transact with users, to transact with in-app items, to allow users to spend and earn. All these have essentially behaviors, values, weight of what these transactions are doing. So in essence, the Kin ecosystem says, well, why don't we make sure that these applications are creating quality transactions? We need quality transactions to allow a better use case. The Kin ecosystem started with the idea that, okay, we are essentially wanting to grow the tipping environment, okay, microtransactions. And hence Kin started from Ethereum and hopped onto Stellar and a Stellar fork. So every transformation was to accommodate the tipping ecosystem, the microtransactions, the faster transactions, the cheaper transaction cost, less gas used, etc. And all of that is good, and that's where Kin has come to today. This is where it's led to, essentially. This is how the project has grown. But now, the economists and the whole infrastructure is really looking at it and saying, okay, all these applications, all the servers, everything that is built on this ecosystem should translate into a heavier transacted weight, essentially. Users should not be simply wasting gas or transacting with pennies or sub-pennies. Now, if you're new to the Kin ecosystem, the Kin ecosystem has a service called Agora. Now, Agora allows essentially a user on a Kin-enabled app to transact Kin, transfer, receive, spend for free. Okay, this is all paid for by the Kin ecosystem. So this is fantastic to onboard new users who are new to crypto and existing users who want to experience this feeless infrastructure. But this has its costs. So developing this new environment where you are spending more, creating more quality transactions could have a big impact on how these applications will grow, what will happen to the whole Kin economy. I think better spends are important, higher quality spends, higher spends in quantity itself. So you have, instead of spending 100 Kin on something, you say, well, the minimum spend really on this app is 100,000 Kin. So at the moment, that's like, right, I want to spend 100,000 Kin, which is fine, but there's nothing to spend it on maybe. It depends on which app you're looking. So this is also sort of motivating the current existing apps to create new spend opportunities, because this allows new stores or new items to be sold and transacted on. So if the threshold increases, there's a spend opportunity to buy other things instead of tipping, buying NFTs or buying stickers or buying a service, subscribing to a service. I think this will have a major impact, a good impact. Also, there's a topic on how little or how much the threshold should increase, whether it will be based on USD cents, 2.5 cents for a minimum spend, or should it be a static Kin number, like minimum 100,000 Kin or 1 million Kin, regardless of the valuation, which could make it easier. You don't want to keep looking at third-party APIs and prices and saying, okay, if it's going up or it's going down 10%, then maybe it's better to have it fixed. But that's really to test, and we'll see how that goes. So that's very exciting, absolutely. Now, the third piece is burning Kin. A lot of you have been asking and wanting to see some sort of burn mechanism for the amount of tokens that Kin has or that is circulating in the Kin ecosystem, which I think is great, to be honest. I think that allows great volume, allows a better experience regarding whole numbers when transacting, but also this creates a new incentive to maybe hold or perhaps be, I don't know. I mean, what comes with a burn experience? So if the Kin supply starts burning a percentage of the total supply of Kin yearly or daily based on, so specifically, there's something called the weekly volatility factor. It is a mouthful, right? But essentially, it's part of the KRE. If something is volatile, if the week is volatile, a piece of that goes back into circulation to the Kin Foundation and back into essentially the whole Kin economy. So the Kin ecosystem said, well, why don't we just burn that? And essentially, whatever the volatility, any piece that comes out of there that doesn't go to the users gets burned. So it's very interesting. It allows the apps now, well, it doesn't, it will force the apps to perhaps compete and increase maybe the user base, because less and less will be in circulation, etc. So this is something to also look at. I mean, these are all blueprints that will be implemented in the coming 6 to 12 months. So these are very exciting points to be discussing, really. And this is, personally for me, I think it's great. Now, the main thing also is the economy contribution score. Now, it says here specifically, an app's ranking in relation to others for its share of the reward pool will be based on its ECS. This figure is calculated using all the relevant factors the KRE will consider, such as the app's Kin economy and performance, so spends, active user balance, etc. Essentially, the apps which have the biggest contribution to the Kin ecosystem for the relevant period, rather than how well they performed on a single metric. Okay, so I'm guessing this really looks at the whole application within the Kin ecosystem and says, all right, how is this app performing? How many spends are there? How many earns? How much are users holding before and after spending? What are they spending it on? Are there good spends, essentially? And what is the weight of the spend, really? What is the weight of the spend? So all these factors build the economic contribution score. And that way you can see, right, application A has a score of 78 out of 100. For example, I'm guessing this is the metric. And you say, okay, how can we improve that? Is there a certain imbalance in increased transactions but lower weight? Do we make certain items more expensive? Or, this is becoming an in-app economy as well. And this is something that the app developers will have to figure out. So that's also interesting. All these points are adding new experiences and new ideas into the whole ecosystem. So it is very, very important to take a look at this now if you're an app developer and see how you can prepare for the next 6 to 12 months and more. Now, also, personally, the most important, I think, for new applications that are coming on board to the Kin ecosystem, whether it's a newly built application specifically for Kin or an application that is already existent, that is a Web2 application or website that decided, we're going to be part of the Kin economy. We're going to start and promote, and our implementation will be done in 4 weeks or 8 weeks, and we'll be ready. The last point and the fifth point is the new app boost. Essentially, the KRE will be assigned with a specific positive time limited boost to these applications that are new to give them an incentive and give them sort of a base support on it, especially if it's a new application. If this application just joined, has a minimal amount of users, this KRE boost for these new apps will definitely help them sustain, build, and have some ammo to go through after maybe the 4-week time limit or 2-week. It depends. It could be 8 weeks. So this is something that will be refined as we go along. So new app boost, very exciting. If you're an app developer thinking of building on the Kin ecosystem, or you've got something on the way, this will definitely be helpful. This will be really amazing. So I think this new Kin experience and this new Kin economy is looking really, really good. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited as well. If you're new, make sure to go to kin.org and check out the website, look at all the information. And this is going to be very, very interesting. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can hit me in the comments or on Twitter on Crypto Barbosa. I'll leave the social media channels in the comment box. So, if you guys want to get in touch or need some more info or want some help, just get in touch. And speak to you soon.